coffee maker and how it works. The Keurig's different from a regular drip brewer because it uses these nifty little things which are called K-cups. So instead of having to use loose coffee and put it in a filter and measure it out and spill some on the counter and then make your coffee, all you have to do is insert this little doodad into the coffee maker. So what you do is you lift this up, drop this in, close it down, and you're ready to go. Now, we won't make the coffee just yet because there's a couple of other things I want to explain to you about the brewer. It's probably not the smallest brewer you can find. It has a little bit of a footprint, but at least you're not going to have to worry about finding extra space for grinders or for messing around with filters. The water goes in on this side here. If you're lazy, you just take the top off and pour some water in the top, or if you do it properly, you can just take the whole thing out, fill it with water at the sink. There's a nice little blue light down here which is flashing when the water gets down to a certain level and you don't have enough for the next cup. That little blue light will flash and let you know. On the right hand side here, there's a little bit of electronics happening. There's a timer there. You can go through cleaning cycles, all kinds of stuff. Now down here, these little flashing lights, and they're flashing because I've put the K-cup in there and I've closed the lid. I have a choice of 3 different sizes. I can do on this one here a small cup of coffee. That's like a 6-ounce cup. It really is like a cup. This center one is more like a mug of coffee, and that's what we're going to make in a moment. I just put the mug there. And this one here on the right hand side is if you're using a travel mug. And that's why, compared to, in fact, our earlier model, the B40, there's a bit more height here, so that when you're filling a travel mug, there's enough space to fit it in the gap there. Now, keep in mind that when you use these 3 different sizes, you're using the same K-cup, the same amount of coffee for every one, which means that when you make a cup of coffee, for the very small cup, you're going to get a stronger taste. Medium cup like this, you'll get a medium taste, and if you're going to make a travel mug full of coffee, well, you're using the same amount of coffee to fill, with a lot more water. So if you do use that right-hand setting for a travel mug, then what you need to do is buy what they call extra bold K-cups. And what happens there, in fact, you can feel it if you shake the different K-cups. They just put some extra coffee in there, so that when you make the travel mug size, you still get the same strength of coffee as you would with a mug. So this whole thing is super simple, super clean. I've put it in there, I close it up, I choose the mug size, press the button, and we get a little bit of noise here, but it doesn't last for long. And here we go, out comes the coffee. Now, the obvious advantage to using a Keurig K-cup coffee maker is like there's no mess at all. There's no preparation. You don't buy separate beans and grind them, or buy ground coffee and measure it out into filters. You don't have to clean up afterwards, except if you spill something. You don't have to handle and throw away kind of wet, damp coffee filters. So this is wonderful if you're feeling a little lazy or you just appreciate the convenience. When I appreciate it most actually is in first thing in the morning. I set the timer to heat it up and get it ready to brew, at 6 o'clock in the morning. So when I get out of bed at sort of 6:15, 6:20, I can just walk over to the brewer, drop in a K-cup, and the K-cups come in. You get a box of them, like there's 18 per box, so we tend to keep them in a little pot like that. And like I say, in the morning I just come in and I just drop in the K-cup, or I can do that the night before, close it up, press the button, and bingo, there you got a cup of coffee. So super simple. If there's a downside here, it's that each cup, because of the packaging, because of the preparation, each cup of coffee you make is going to be a little more expensive than if you used a drip cup. Now, a drip brewer. Now that said, there's a wonderful choice of coffees, and it's a wonderful tasting coffee. It makes really good coffee. So you just have to balance the cost issue. It's much less than you'll pay if you drop into your local coffee store. It's a little more than you'll pay if you make your own coffee with a drip brewer or French press or something like that. So that's it for the B60. There are others in the range. There's a B40, which, like I say, it doesn't have quite the same amount of clearance here. It doesn't have quite the number of options in the electronics. The B70 is a little more expensive, has a few more bells and whistles up here, and the B30 is a much smaller unit, which is ideal for traveling, or if you're in an RV or a boat in a dorm room in some very, where space really is at a premium. But all of them use basically the same system, the same process. You put in the K-cup, you pierce the K-cup when this comes down, there's a little hole. Do you see the hole that's punched in the top of the K-cup there? That's where the water comes in. There's a little hole punched in the bottom there, and the coffee's in here, and there is a filter. There's a paper filter in there as well. So pressurized water is pushed through here, through the coffee, through the filter, out the little hole, down the spout, and into your cup. Very efficient, very time efficient. And like I said, I've taken this out now, and if I shake it, I'll probably get a drop of coffee out the bottom. But basically, I just now take this and I drop it in the garbage. So there's no mess, no hassle, super convenient.